TIFU, by overestimating my friendship with someone. TLDR. I don't have any close friends. And after driving someone I thought was my friend around all day, it confirmed it. Me and my friend have been friends since we were kids. We are now early 30s. There are periods of time where we talk and see each other a lot. And times where we don't. We hadn't been talking, seeing each other much since COVID. But a little over a year ago we were both in more stable situations. They stopped using hard drugs. And I was in a more stable place in my job. So I reached out, texted more, tried to be better. They don't have a car. And I do. So I would drive to see them once a month. Sometimes more. They live pretty far. 2 hours. But it was worth it, I thought. Not about the money or time I spent getting there. It's about having an actual friend in my life. I was never a super social person. But after COVID lockdown, I now feel super out of touch with everything and everyone. It's gotten better. But I'm not good at making friends and I'm not the best in social situations. So, I figured trying to reach out and become close to this friend was a good start at feeling more like myself. Anyway, we texted to meet at their place days ago. This person asked me a few days before if someone else could join. And even though I don't know this other person super well, I thought why not? It'll be a better way to try to get to know someone new. When I got there, other person didn't have a car. They Ubered. Doesn't matter, I thought we would hang out inside. Couldn't go into their place due to their spouse needing to rest. So I drove them around to get lunch and to the mall. Which was the plan all along. They just never told me I'd be driving them around. They offered gas money but I declined because it's just not about the money to me. Well, my friend and their friend are much closer than I am with my friend. So much so that most of the time I was there, they were talking about people I didn't know. Times they hung out, inside jokes, parties they went to, all of which I was never invited to. So there's only so many times I could say, haha, oh wow, that sounds like it was fun, before it started to kinda hurt. It felt like I was a chauffeur and a third wheel. Well, since I'm socially inept, towards the end of the day, I just kinda stayed quiet. And I guess I look pretty upset. I dropped them off, gave my friend their Christmas present. They got a present for their friend but not for me. Wasn't exchanged in front of me, just talked about. And said I was just tired and left. When I got home, friend texted me and asked if I was okay. Kept spamming me messages and messages about it. I honestly didn't mean to be upset. I know my emotions aren't other people's responsibility. I know other people are allowed to have close friends even if that doesn't mean I am one of them. It just hurt to realize I'm not close to them and probably never will be. So I texted friend that I felt left out and that I know it's not their fault and that I know they are closer to their friend. They texted back basically confirming they are closer but it doesn't matter and that it wasn't their intention to make me feel left out. And that they won't include anyone else next time. Which wasn't what made me upset. I tried to explain that. And friend said, I'll make it up to you. Whatever that means. How can it? They didn't do anything wrong. It was me who set unrealistic expectations on a friend I don't see often. Honestly, I feel like friend full of saint and just saying whatever to try to make me not upset, so I'll drive them around again. After the effort I put through to try to be their friend and get closer. I thought I mattered more to them. And to find out it's a one-sided friendship just really makes me feel differently towards them. After having to drive so many people in my life around, my siblings, and to other people, friends, parents, I'm burnt out and at my breaking point. I feel left out at work all the time. I just didn't expect it from someone I consider a friend. It sucks to realize that you're not as important to someone as they are to you. And it sucks to know that you're an afterthought. So I messed up by thinking I was close to someone, when in actuality, I am not. Sounds like your friend values you. Once they realized you were hurt, they reached out. But you've got some personal history pain that you are overlaying onto the interaction in an unfair way. Living 2 hours away. Of course, you aren't going to see them as much. Regardless of how much the friendship is. Group dynamics are always different than one-on-one. I think you messed up by having this friendship and feelings and resulting conversation about those feelings entirely in your head. Your friend seems like an average friend. You seem like the one who needs to relax a bit. Your friend offered you gas money. They recognized you were upset. They offered to make it up to you. They wanted to see you in the first place. You're burning this bridge on your own emo. I think you need to put some things into a healthy perspective. You live 2 hours away. You're going to be left out of stuff. It's how you handle that which is a reflection of you. Second, your friend offered to pay and noticed you were hurt and checked on you. That's a good friend. Your efforts to get close are good and have clearly paid off. They care about you. I think you need to take this in stride and just say, "Thanks for including me in this outing. Sorry I was hurt the other day. It just stinks living so far away. I do appreciate your friendship and would love to be included in more if our schedules line up. I feel like you're somewhat in your own head about this. I'd allow the other person a chance to make it up to you somehow. Also, sometimes friendships come in waves. Sometimes it's awesome and things are flowing easily. Sometimes it's not as fun and things may not be as smooth as they once were. And both are okay. Since you guys have been friends for that long, it could just be a down moment in the friendship, and can easily come back up again. I'm gonna share a strategy that my therapist taught me when things like this came up for me. Don't look for evidence that what you fear is true. Look for evidence or explanation for how the events can be explained otherwise. Like, for the present thing, did you talk about doing Christmas gifts with your friend? Do you know the circumstances in which this present was given to the other person? What evidence is there that this isn't an indication of how your friend feels about you? That your friend just didn't realize exchanging presents would be this important for you? Personally, I don't really like doing Christmas gifts. It was always a really stressful and disappointing experience with my family. So I established with my friends that I'd prefer not to exchange gifts. But sometimes, somebody new gets me a present and I didn't think they were going to. Or I'm going to a party where there's a secret Santa or something. So in those cases, I'll make sure to give them something the next time I see them, be prepared for the party. At the same time, when I see something I think a friend will like, but wouldn't easily be able to get themselves, I'll pick it up for them if it's not too expensive. These are, I was just thinking of you, gifts that I'll do all year round. But they tend to happen more for people that I see regularly and whom I'm more connected with. Just because I've got a better idea of what things those people would like. So there are several possible ways I can immediately see that your friend could have been being an accidental jerk, without there being any greater implication about how they feel about you. Your brain obviously doesn't have trouble finding evidence for your beliefs, which is normal, of course, but the conclusions it's coming to sound based a lot more out of pain than out of objective examination of the facts. So, look for alternative explanations. Talk with your friend about your feelings and see what their perspective is. Ideally without telling them that you feel like they're using you or that they're lying to you. Because that's a fast way to make them decide that having a full conversation isn't worth it. They didn't do anything wrong. It was me who set unrealistic expectations on a friend I don't see often. Honestly, I feel like friend full of saint and just saying whatever to try to make me not upset, so I'll drive them around again. Which is it? Do you think they wronged you or not? Self-imposed negative thoughts. This is an Eeyore response. If you act like Eeyore, you'll find it harder to get and keep friends because spending time with you becomes a chore. It doesn't sound like you really think you're being taken advantage of. Just that you felt left out and imposed that thought onto it retroactively. I think I know why you don't have any friends. You're making yourself out to be left out even though you were invited. If someone came around and acted like this, I wouldn't invite them anywhere else. I hang out with people who talk about things I wasn't there for. And that's okay. If I want to talk about something, I direct the conversation instead of waiting for them to include me. Having a car when your friends don't is a great way to be included. It's your job to maximize that and make yourself part of the group instead of languish that you weren't present before. I think you are blowing things out of proportion here. Your friend may be closer to the other person, but have you considered that this is because they live closer to the other person? They go to more of the same parties together because the parties are nearby to both of them. I don't invite my friends who live 2 hours away to any of the things I am going to because it seems crazy to me that they would drive 2 hours for a party. That is not a reflection on how much I value them as a friend though. And the people who live closer to me know more about the daily happenings of my life because they are available more to take part in things. These are just circumstances. It doesn't sound like your friend used you at all. You were the one who expressed being more than okay with doing these things. You were the one who declined gas money. Your friend was upfront about what they needed to accomplish while you were visiting. And you agreed to that. They were also concerned enough about your feelings to contact you and try to fix things. And to notice you were upset in the first place. And you decided all of their motivations and thoughts without even consulting them about it. You're massively failing at communication here. It sounds like you do have a very good friendship with this person and you're about to burn it to the ground because you don't like the realities of not living next door. You need to do some work on yourself. The friend was rude and third-wheeled you. They realized they upset you, acknowledged it, and offered to make it up to you by spending some one-on-one time with you next time. You are the one deciding they are only doing this so you will be their chauffeur. You're creating an entire narrative about others' motivations and feelings instead of talking it out clearly and accepting what you are told at face value. There's a lot of rejection sensitivity going on here. You're taking a social faux pas that happens. One person is thoughtless or lacks social grace, and turning it into a massive rejection of you. The way you get closer to people is actually working through stuff like this. Clearing, stating what and how you'd like to be treated. If they can't do that, then you realize it isn't a good friendship and move on. I'd tell them what you'd like to do next time and see if they can make the effort. You are burning the bridge, not your friend. Your friend is making effort and you are driving them away out of jealousy. You need to see the situation for what it is and apologize. It doesn't seem like a one-sided friendship. Please don't make it so by cutting them off or telling them to get lost. Yes. It absolutely sucks to feel like you're an afterthought. I advise you to communicate with your friend about your feelings. Been there. The rest of my life doesn't allow me a lot of time to spend with friends. So naturally someone who's my, all the time, friend. I'm there, only sometimes, friend. It's a difference in the hours per week per month that you can invest in friend relationships. And therefore an imbalance in how close of a friend you consider the other to be. It's kind of heartbreaking to realize your best friend considers you an acquaintance. But that's just the way it is sometimes. You can take it or leave it. As adults, it seems that very few people find the sort of mutual best friend relationships they had as kids when everyone mostly had the same responsibilities. It doesn't mean that the other person isn't your friend at all. It just means that you're not as big a part of their life as they are of yours. And that's okay. You just come off really jealous here. Your friend can have more friends than you. They also tried to include you in that relationship, which was nice of them, emo. You need to start seeing a therapist. You're digging circles in your own head. Like, take just the part about gas money. The other two were clearly on the same page as you. You weren't expected to just be driving around. Hence why they offered you money. That doesn't magically turn your entire afternoon into being about the money, because they chipped in for an unexpected gas cost. It's literally an example of how they want to hang out with you and not just have you pay for stuff, so they're trying to pay their own share. Then they're just talking and hanging out, and you're upset that you weren't at all the same events and functions as the other two people? Why would you expect to have been? Nothing in your story suggests you've been hanging out with these two constantly for 10 years. Of course they've been to other places and things in that time. Hanging out in a group doesn't mean everyone in the group caters to your experiences only at all times. I know you mean well, and this isn't meant to be mean, but friendships only work like that in the Sims or games where you do quests and then they join you. I have dear friends I'll forget exist for months as we like 200 miles away as they do me. The time I spend with people isn't always correlated with how close we actually are. Same with in-jokes parties. One of my absolute best friends lives the other end of the country, and I've seen her in person an average of once every 3 years since university. When we were there, she didn't go to the same parties. She liked quiet, sober game nights, and I liked 6-story beer bongs, fighting each other for fun and stuff that would have given her an anxiety attack to witness. I don't think it's entirely on you like some comments though. Not stressing about those friends is what has allowed me to make several as I do stuff for myself. The sporadic contact usually balances out. Sometimes leaves me talking to nobody and getting through the pile of stuff I've wanted time to myself for, and sometimes gets overwhelming. If you went and started a hobby you've always wanted to do, like boxing, rock climbing, pottery, and made a good friend through that, did cool stuff and made some memories with them, you'll be the one saying, "Oh, can I bring someone?" But you'll know how to make sure your other friend feels included more than you did in your post. Hey man, I think you might be being a little self-destructive here. I find that people that have trouble making friends are overthinkers and tend to keep track of who does what in relationships. If you usually go there and enjoy hanging out, no reason you should stop. Yeah, maybe you drive more often, but so what? Literally, who cares as long as you are having a good time socializing? Plus, in this case, they offer to pay for gas, and also realized you might be upset, which is something tough sometimes even for best friends, so I think they're actually a pretty good friend. Also, you have power to change how conversations are going too. Be interested in learning about that third person's hobbies and history, and ask questions in the car, instead of just letting them talk about their own stuff. If you're not going to say anything, of course they'll talk about their own things because you're just being silent. Also, standard Reddit reply recommending therapy to figure out why you have such a strong feeling that people don't like you or care about you when it doesn't seem to be the case. You put too many expectations on your friend. Either they are or they ain't! Exclamation mark. You are not alone. It hurts. There are some easy fixes here. In the moment of feeling left out and you're not able to change the conversation to be more inclusive naturally, then just say, "Hey guys, I'm feeling a bit left out of this conversation. Can we move on to something new, like, that we can all be included in?" At least interject questions into the conversation so you can steer it a bit, which will remind them to give you the background information necessary to enjoy the stories and Learn about other people they're talking about, who you said you might like to get to know at those parties in the future. If you don't like the possibility of feeling like a chauffeur, talk to your friend about it so you can both decide what she can do to make your efforts feel valued and reciprocated. Or tell her you don't feel comfortable giving rides because of it. It sounds like your friend values and respects you. Relationships take maintenance and check-ins before things come to a breaking point. Your friend saw your stress and is trying to reach out to do the maintenance corrections. It's on you to decide if you want to put in the effort of communicating your needs or if you want to abandon the friendship.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.